Claiming your IRA, pension, and Social Security in the wrong order can cost you an extra $50,000 in taxes and reduced living expenses during retirement. Today I'm going to step you through the right order, the math behind it, and we'll also talk about 2 exceptions where the rule doesn't apply. Hi, I'm Scott. I was a college professor for many years, and now I teach couples like you close to retirement how to clarify your goals, master your money, and gain confidence as you enter the next chapter. Most of my clients have retirement income that comes from 3 sources: Social Security, retirement savings, and perhaps a pension. Each of these sources have their own advantages and disadvantages, their own built-in features. Social Security payments might not be taxed at all, or up to as much as 85% of it could be taxable at the federal level. It does come with a COLA though, so one of the tremendous benefits of Social Security is the cost of living adjustment each and every year. And it does have embedded incentives to delay starting benefits and you're 62 to age 70. And then finally, retirement savings, whether this is an IRA or 401k, I'll consider those be basically the same thing. You have flexibility on how much you take out each and every month, assuming that you wait until at least age 59 and a half so that no penalties are involved. If you have a 401k, you might be able to start withdrawing as early as age 55. The challenge with IRAs is that there's this pesky thing called a requirement minimum distribution, or RMD. So at age 73 or at age 75, the federal government asks you to, or forces you to, start withdrawing money. Now, depending on the size of your IRA, that may or may not be a burden for you. If you've got a particularly high IRA, though, you might be forced to withdraw more money than you want to, which is going to cause a hefty tax payment. And a subset of the IRA is the Roth IRA or Roth 401k. This is the holy grail of retirement planning because money can be withdrawn tax-free and there are no required minimum distributions. So let's suppose you and your spouse are 62, you want to retire, and you're wondering what is the proper order of these 3 or 4 income sources. Number 1 is probably going to be your pension, because normally with most pensions you don't have much control over when it starts. It starts the month after you retire, and you generally don't have any kind of incentive to wait a year or 2 or 3 to let those benefits increase. Option number 3, notice I'm skipping ahead. I'm skipping over number 2 right now, but order number 3 is Social Security. Now what I'd really encourage you to do is to delay that as long as possible. Now we know that you can start Social Security at age 62, but the longer you wait up through age 70, the higher your yearly benefits will be each and every year for the rest of your life. Now I claim that there are 2 reasons why you might want to delay Social Security. One is the obvious, that you want to be able to increase your benefits. But the less obvious is that you want to create a time frame where you can make strategic IRA withdrawals before Social Security starts. So after you've started your pension, I propose that you start withdrawing from your IRA and delay Social Security as long as you can. Now your retirement savings can come in one of 3 buckets. For most retirees of these 3 buckets, the largest one is the tax deferred. It's pretty natural. We were told over the last 20, 30 years of our working lives, save as much as we can into our 401k, into our 403b, and get a big tax deduction this year. The potential challenges going forward, especially when you turn age 73, 75 for your required minimum distribution, is that tax bill now will come due and it might be bigger than it otherwise needs to be. So let's talk about taxes for just a moment. If you're married, your first $32,000 of income are not taxed due to the standard deduction. The next $25,000 of income is taxed at 10%. Above and beyond that, the next $76,000 is taxed at 12%. Now combined, the 76 plus the 25 plus the 32 gives us what we call a 12% tax bracket of up to $133,000 in income for married couples. This is a key notion because anything that we bring in, any kind of IRA withdrawals below that level of $133,000 is going to only be taxed at 12%. Now I say only because that's about as cheap as you're going to find. If your income drifts above that $133,000, then you're going to start paying 22%. Now unfortunately, if you're single, your tax brackets look quite a bit different. Your 12% tax bracket only goes up to about $66,000, and anything above that, you're paying 22% in federal income tax. Ideally, what we'd have is a large Roth bucket and a small tax-deferred bucket. Now, why do this? Well, I can think of at least 3 good reasons. One is to reduce the overall tax burden. So we're paying a few more taxes this year with the goal that we're going to save taxes later. But this second rule is really important, or second reason is really important. Everything we've been looking at is assuming a couple and their nice tax brackets. If one of you dies in your late 70s, early 80s, the surviving spouse now has a much smaller tax bracket of that 12%. All of a sudden, what looked pretty manageable, that RMDs really weren't going to be a concern for you as a couple, will be a concern for the surviving spouse. And the third reason we might choose to do this is for if we have inheritance plans, any money in the Roth will go tax-free to our presumably children. Getting money out of the IRA into a Roth, 3 good reasons. So how can we get there? Well, from age 62 when you retire up through, let's just say you start Social Security at age 67. Those 5 years, we call that the gap years. We want to take advantage of, we're not having additional income from Social Security, and we're going to use that opportunity to withdraw more than we need from our IRA at a good tax advantage status. So here's how we're going to take advantage of that 12% bracket. Let's suppose you want to live on $72,000 per year. You've got a small pension of about $18,000. The gap between $18,000 and $72,000 is what, $54,000. So you're going to pull $54,000 from your IRA to live on while you're waiting for Social Security to start. But now you still have a pretty good cushion within that 12% tax bracket, meaning you can withdraw an additional about $60,000 from your IRA that you don't need to spend this year. And with that, you can do one of 2 things. You can either put it into your Roth account, called a Roth conversion, or you can put it into your taxable account just to add to your savings. But either way, the key notion is pulling that extra $60,000 is only being taxed at 12%. So I put these numbers into my financial planning software, and if they accelerate withdrawals from their IRA and put them into Roths during those first early years of retirement, they could be saving over $100,000 in extra taxes. So the order so far is pension, followed by IRA, enough to fill up your 12% tax bracket. Now we're going to delay till age 67, maybe later, and bring in Social Security. And then option number 4 is the Roth accounts. We'd really like to leave those as long as we can because they are growing tax-free. We don't really want to retrieve them until we really need to. Now, when might we do that? Well, since it is being retrieved tax-free, and if we're in trouble with the various tax brackets, if we're bumping up to that 12%, we've got some big purchase that we wanted to buy, but we didn't want to have to withdraw that money from the IRA because that money would be taxable. So maybe we're buying a car, paying for a wedding, a big vacation, unnecessary or unexpected medical expenses. So those might be good reasons for the Roth. Do you want a second opinion planning your retirement? I work with couples for a flat fee. We identify when you can safely retire without running out of money and the exact steps that you need to get there. Learn more about me and my process by clicking on the link below and then schedule a free introductory call. All right, let's consider Tom and Mary. Tom is 63, Mary is 61. They both want to retire this year. So this sequence, pensions, IRAs, and then Social Security, works out pretty well for Tom and Mary. Now there are at least 2 scenarios where it may not be that sequence that you want to use. First one is if you're in poor health or don't have longevity in your family history. So if you expect that you might not survive beyond, let's say, 80 years old, well, that's often an indication that you might want to start Social Security early. But if you're married, the person with the higher income should still wait as long as possible. Because even if that person with the higher income or the higher benefits were to die prematurely, their survivor spouse still gets their higher benefits for the rest of their life. The second exception is, well, you just don't have the luxury of these extra income streams. You don't have a pension, and your IRA is of modest size. You just unfortunately don't have the flexibility to live off your IRA and let Social Security continue to accumulate. So maybe you have to start Social Security at 65 or at 64. It's not ideal in terms of trying to maximize Social Security benefits, but it does allow you to retire earlier. So in summary, I think the best sequence is start with a pension, then withdraw IRA as much as you can to fill up that 10 or 12% tax bracket, delay Social Security as long as you can, and then keep those Roth IRAs hidden in the back pocket. Watch the next video where I step through a further detail of when you can retire and how much you can spend.